Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital and welcome back to the YouTube channel here. Today we're going to be talking about part 3 in this series about the Bitcoin 3 macro triangles and lots to be spoken about today. What's the major resistance area that Bitcoin is going to be facing in this cycle? And we touched upon that in the newsletter earlier this week, so we'll be touching upon that very briefly. Very important insights waiting here for you. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like the video if you enjoy this one, and let's dive right in. So in December 2022, when I first created this chart, I spoke about how firstly, upon breakdown from a triangle like this, 65%, 50% retracement. If we see a 50 to 65% retracement, we will essentially bottom out between the 17K to 12K region. Ultimately, we bottomed at 15,500, so within that range. But the other thing is that we tend to register a bear market bottom 547 to 517 days prior to the halving. So around here in December, that was 487 days. But of course, in November, we bottomed. So that's actually over 500 days. So if we move on to the next chart, 517 days prior to the halving is where Bitcoin bottomed. So it repeated history in the 2019 period. So very much within the range of time. So bottoming out prior to the halving, 517 to 547 days, 517. So bang on within that range. And also in terms of retracement, 65% upon losing the triangle, 50% upon losing the triangle. Here we bottom at 15,500, so which is just deeper than 50%. Fantastic insights. This is something we were covering, in reality every single week in the Rekt Capital newsletter. So it was really cool to see this unfold each week and how things have just repeated perfectly in terms of history. We are now in a new macro uptrend because that's what tends to happen when we break the macro downtrend. Macro downtrend broken up here as well. And then rally to new all-time highs, rally to new all-time highs after the halving, and that's what we're going to probably see as well, rally to new all-time highs. So what's the major resistance that's in the way of Bitcoin right now? And this is where this chart comes in. So let's dissect this a bit more. So the bull market peak in the 2015-2014 period, going into the halving, you see that price, of course, manages to upside wick into this resistance, but that's where some rejection takes place. We see the pre-halving retrace occur here. So historically, we see a pre-halving retrace take place around the halving, just before it. But we don't see new all-time highs going into the halving being this blue vertical line. We don't break that major resistance area in the bull market top, although we try to get close to it, but reject from it ultimately. However, if we focus on the post-halving period, you see that in the immediate months after the halving, we actually break beyond this region, and not even break beyond it. We turn this region into a new support. This is now a new base compared to before when it was a point of rejection. So this happens in the immediate months after the halving. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is where we see the 7th month post-halving retest here. 8, 9, that's another retest at a higher low. And 10 is where we break out to new all-time highs, essentially. A little bit before that, but this is where we break out from this resistance area. So let's look on to the next cycle, this being the bull market top region. Once again, pre-halving, we tap into that pool of liquidity, but still a supply area, still a supply zone rejecting price. Very similar to what we saw over here, just about wicking into this resistance area, but rejecting. Mind you, of course, the rejection here was a little bit deeper, but also the advance occurred much quicker. Many months prior to the halving, in fact. However, if we focus on the post-halving period here, you'll notice that once again, in the immediate months after the halving, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th month retest, and 6th month rally to the top of that resistance, 7th month breakout. So here we had a period of around 7 to 9 months, 7 retesting this region as new support, and in the 9th month roughly breaking out from here, or the 10th month, And here we have a 4-month period, 5-month period, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months where we break out into new all-time highs. So let's look at this analogous situation. Apologies for the tongue twister here. This is the resistance area, and that's going to be the resistance area into post-halving, but pre-halving, there is scope. Historically, there is scope for some revisit here. So that's just above the 42k area. There is scope for some upside wicking here. Inevitably, depending on how quickly we advance there, if it's going to be an advancement that's quite quick upon breaking this macro downtrend here, if we get here quite quickly, then we might see a local top in this region and then rejection going into the halving. However, if it takes a little bit more time in this advance and we just gradually rally towards the upside, then a rejection in this region pre-halving won't be too sharp. So it really does depend on the level of advancing in terms of the upside for Bitcoin going forward. But this is an area that price could top out prior to the halving. And at the same time, in the immediate months after the halving, 6 months up to 9 months after the halving, we should probably revisit the 40k, 50, 60k region and retest this region as a support. That's what we've seen in the past. Support retest here and support retest here before new all-time highs. Support retest here before new all-time highs. Support retest here before new all-time highs. So 6 to 9 months after the halving. So that essentially from April, that's around October, November, December, where we break to new all-time highs. And this is content that I cover in the Rekt Capital newsletter. We've been covering this live all the way back into December 2022 and even earlier to June. So if you like this content, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, but feel free to sign up for the Rekt Capital newsletter in the link in the description down below. I know that if you enjoy this content here on the YouTube channel or on Twitter, you will love the newsletter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave a like if you enjoy this video. I'm Rekt Capital and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.